We might be heading back in time. There's a bill about a gold standard being brought back and pegging the dollar back to gold, which would be a step in the right direction, right? Because obviously returning to a hard money would be better. We've seen what's happened when you have a fiat currency. It's not a lot of fun. But I do think that gold is going back in time, and there is something to go forward in time that would make a lot more sense. But this bill is broken down. They have a lot of pretty good points actually talking about. You can see it's only 3 congressmen introduced this bill to stabilize the dollar's value. So it's not like it's a massive thing. It's kind of a talking point, maybe like a political move, because it's only 3 people. So it's not like it's a big topic here and getting pushed through. But the points made are still valid points and should still be thought of when you think of money and the problems that have went wrong with it. But for the problem, like this says, Gold Standard Restoration Act, that's the bill, wants to facilitate repegging of the volatile Federal Reserve note, which is the dollar, to a fixed weight of gold bullion. But there's a pretty massive problem with that already, starting with the $30 trillion in debt that the government is. So if you fix that money to a hard asset, they can inflate the debt away and make it more valuable to have more debt. So obviously, you know, it's against their own interest, the government's interest of continuing to print money into their Ponzi and keep it running. So I don't think this would be too loved amongst everyone. Obviously, a lot of people in government have are very close to the money printer. So they benefit from this stuff when the printer turns on. You can see plans of the bill is, if it gets passed, to have the Treasury and the Federal Reserve given 24 months to publicly disclose all gold holdings and transactions, after which the Federal Reserve note, the dollar, would be formally repegged to a fixed weight of gold and its then marked price. Now, it sounds all fine and dandy in principle, right? It sounds good to have the gold standard back. We saw what happened, but we also saw what happened with the gold standard and why the government shouldn't be trusted. It is centralized stuff, and the government having your money and control over your money is not the right thing to do, because this exact executive order right here, you can see this is the executive order in April 5th, 1933, had all people required to deliver on or before May 1st all their gold coins, gold bullion, and gold certificates. So the government basically said, give us all of your gold or else you're going to jail. So the government came and stole everybody's gold, gave it to themselves, and then still, like a couple decades later, took off the gold standard because they couldn't just print their way into doing whatever they wanted. So why would you give the government that exact same power again? History is just going to repeat itself. We can't go back in time. Gold was good when it was the analog technology, when we weren't in the digital age. But we're in the digital age now. Bitcoin is the real solution here. Bitcoin is decentralized. No one controls it. No one can come steal it from you. If one government gets super tyrannical and wants to go after you and take everything, you can memorize 12 words in your head and leave and take all of your net worth with you in Bitcoin. You can do that. So obviously it would keep governments in check. It would give you sovereignty over your own money and have no one in control of it. And you can see a lot of points that are made in this bill. If you put it to Bitcoin instead of gold, it makes the same point, but it makes it better for the digital age that we live in. Like this right here, you can see times including 2021 and 2022, the Federal Reserve's actions helped create inflation rates of 8% or higher, increasing the cost of living for many Americans to untenable levels, enriching the owners of financial assets while endangering the jobs, wages, and savings of blue-collar workers, which is all true. The Fed turned on the money printer, and the beneficiaries of it are people who own stocks, who own real estate, who own assets, because you devalue the dollar, the assets get more expensive. And people everyday people who are working, who are just saving their money, who aren't investors, like 45% of Americans have no investable assets at all, those people get screwed. You could spend decades saving your money, working hard, putting your money in a savings account, putting it in the bank, and thinking you're saving your money, just for the Federal Reserve to flip a switch, and in this case, just type some numbers on a spreadsheet and devalue all of your hard work instantly just because they want to. And although a gold standard would be a way to try and combat that ideally, it's not actually going to work. Because in a world where the gold markets are, one, already heavily manipulated, banks get charged with manipulating precious metals all the time, and the government can try and weasel their way out of it. They can steal all of your gold again, like they already have done in the past. And then if push comes to shove, they can just shut off redemptions and say, we're done with the gold standard. We're back to where we were before. So why go down that route with so much trust and centralization? It just doesn't make any sense. Whereas a Bitcoin model, if we went into a Bitcoin standard, and that's what people were dealing with, Bitcoin is fully decentralized and fully auditable. You can check every address. The government can put out their addresses and say, this is our address where we keep Bitcoin. And you can look at it and see exactly how much Bitcoin's there, how much is coming in, how much is coming out, where it's going, and you can fully audit the government yourself as an everyday person and keep them in check. And they can't lie about how much Bitcoin they have because you're going to be able to audit it on chain. And also, if it comes down to it and they want to do what they did with gold and try and steal everybody's Bitcoin, you memorize 12 words, tell them I don't know where any of this Bitcoin is, I don't have any, and you leave the country. That's all you got to do. You memorize 12 words and you leave the country. You go somewhere else. If it becomes that bad, you can obviously just do that. You can go anywhere else in the world with your 12 words, get your Bitcoin out, and you're fine. Imagine trying to move $1 billion of gold across the globe. That's going to be insanely costly, and everyone's going to know you're doing it. You can't do it secretly, so the governments can control you. But with Bitcoin, you can have $1 billion in Bitcoin, memorize your 12 words, go across the globe, and you instantly have access to all of your Bitcoin. And the last point being made for all this stuff, this is a bigger bill, but these are some of the big points. In this one, the last one we touch on, saying today, debt-based fiat money system serves primarily to support big government and wealthy financial insiders, absolutely, while the Federal Reserve's serial policy of currency debasement punishes savers and wage earners. Exactly what it does, right? Like I said before, you could save your entire lifetime and your savings over time can't buy as much because they're just printing it. They're printing more money. They're injecting more money. They're devaluing your savings and your hard work that you've done your entire life because they're bailing out stocks or real estate or investors or billionaires instead of actually worrying about the currency itself because they don't care about it. And if you want a lot of different charts breaking all this down, you can see exactly what happened in 1971.com is this website, and it gives you a bunch of these charts, a bunch of things to look at. You can see exactly how things were going on the gold standard. Pretty good, tight, everything making sense. Going off the gold standard on all of these charts just shows you the change that's happened and how it was a bad thing and hard money is a good thing that people should want. But we're in a digital age. We're in the new age. We can't go back in time. You can't go to the analog. You go to the new. And Bitcoin is that new. And it actually gives every individual person the power over their own money with nobody able to control you from it, freeze you out of it, stop you from doing anything. You control your money, not some government. But will we see the gold standard make a return? Probably not. I don't think it's in any government's interest to do that. They very much like having the money printer and being able to print their way out of problems, enriching themselves, and they don't care what happens afterwards. So it would be a good thing for hard money, but I think that the future is Bitcoin, not gold. That's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.